Hello everybody, welcome to Guides with Finch, and today we're going to be talking about Puck, because Puck is a pretty lady. You might be wondering what Guides with Finch is. This is just a new series that I'm going to do that's just real quick, simple, kind of talking about the guides that I create for Dota 2, and I just want to give you kind of the thought process behind the skill builds and the item decisions, but then also help you understand why you're doing those things, because guides are super important to Dota 2. They're the thing that a lot of new players rely on as sort of training wheels to get used to a new hero, and I think they're very very valuable. They're very important. But on top of that, I think you need to understand why you're doing certain things. So then, if you see something on another team or on your own team, you can adjust accordingly, and you can feel that you understand the hero in all different aspects. So the goal of this series isn't to say this is the right way to play the hero. I don't want to record myself playing an hour-long game of playing a hero, pretending that I'm the smartest person in the world. But I just want to kind of explain the guide, why the item decisions are there, and then give you a link to the guide. So when you go into Dota 2 to play Puck or whatever hero it may be, you can subscribe to the guide in there, and you can kind of understand the flow and the format rather than just kind of hoping that it works that game. And I'm going to try to keep these short and sweet, and I'm just going to go through all the heroes that I have guides for because I really enjoy making guides. I try to force myself to do maybe like one or two every couple weeks. So there's a constant flow of new guides and new heroes and all that kind of stuff. So this series is just kind of to supplement those guides in game and give you kind of a more understanding if you want to play this hero. I know this isn't for everybody, but there might be some people out there who go, you know what, I want to give Puck a try. I want to give Templar Assassin a try. Whatever it may be, then they can kind of feel a little bit more confident going into that game rather than just going, I hope this guide is the right one when you pick one off the list of 10 or 15. So let's dive in. Try to keep this short and sweet. I don't want to go too long. The guide today is Finch says Puck is a pretty lady. Figured this one was a good one to start with because it's probably my most popular one that I've created. So, great place to start, I guess. So, dive right in. When to pick Puck. Puck is a really good pick right now. She's very strong in the metagame. I think she's always been strong just because she is an initiator and she's a very good mid hero. She also adds a lot of team fight and just a lot of versatility. So, things like her silence and her orb, give her mobility, ability to shut down the team with her coil, same thing, lock their team down. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do with Puck for your team that can really benefit them, so that is why she's a really good pick. When you want to pick her is generally when you need someone to go middle and you need someone to go off lane. Either one of those. She can be played off lane. I prefer mid, but you can do either one of those. And then also you do need someone to initiate someone to kind of start the fights. And with Puck, she's a unique initiator because she's not like Tidehunter or Earthshaker, where she just walks in and starts the team fight because she has a bunch of health and isn't going to die. You're going to be using Blink Dagger, you're going to be using your mobility, your positioning, dodging attacks. So that with all that combined, it allows you to be a lot more aggressive. So Puck is a great hero for a lot more of aggressive team because you can chase down people. You have the mobility to get in there, blink forward, throw your orb out, whatever it may be. You can be a lot more aggressive, and you can survive it. To where if you're that aggressive with some other heroes, you might die. Starting build for Puck, you're going to be starting with a number of different ways, I guess. There's two different thought processes on this. The one I have listed here, I think, is a little bit more friendly to newer players and to people who kind of don't play Puck that often. So we got Mantle of Intelligence, a Tango, Healing Salve, and a Circlet. Now, the other build, I guess I'll just give you the other build, would be just a Tango and then 3 Iron Branches. So the difference between these two builds is this build here I have with the Mantle of Intelligence and the Circlet gives you a little bit more attack damage early on. Puck has a pretty low base attack damage, and I think it's really, really frustrating when you go up against someone like Invoker, a number of other mid heroes, and you just can't get last hits because they're doing more damage than you and you're having a hard time, especially if you're new to the hero. It gets really frustrating, and on top of that, it makes it hard to get your items quicker. So if you feel that you're confident with Puck and your ability to get last hits, then go ahead and grab a Tango and 3 Iron Branches, and then you can grab your bottle quicker because you'll have like 300 gold left over, so you just have to get a couple last hits and you can get that bottle. If you go this build, you're spending a little bit more, but I feel that it gives you a little bit more ability to get those last hits if you feel that you need it. So that's kind of where the versatility thing comes in. You have to weigh your options, figure out what works for you. I like this one for people who are newer, which I figured people who are using guides are generally newer to Dota and newer to the hero, and so that's why I have this one listed here. Early game, you're going to be buying your bottle first. After that, you're probably going to be buying your boots. I have these out of order. And then after that, the bracer. Once again, the bracer is a thing that I feel that helps newer players. If you feel that you don't need it and you can go straight to a blink dagger, hey, more power to you. Do that. But by starting with this circlet, it's a really cheap pickup for the bracer. It gives you a little bit more damage, a little bit more health, and it gives you a little bit more survivability when you start team fighting. Bottle, obviously, is what you need to get because you can control the runes as Puck. You have very good mobility. Control the runes. You go pick up the ganks. The boots we're going to be building for our core items are going to be power treads. Power treads are probably the most, the best boots, I guess, for Puck, in my opinion, because it gives you versatility. Once again, I'm a big fan of versatility. You can leave them as strength when you're team fighting because then you have a little bit more health, a little bit more survivability. Hope you're seeing the pattern here. Or you can switch them into intelligence if you need to get some more mana, if you need to get more last hitting in, you need a little bit more damage. It gives you that versatility to decide it. I see some people like to go phase boots. I don't think you really need that much more mobility. I guess if you feel like you really need to be super aggressive, but you might die a lot quicker. The other one I see people use is arcane boots because they feel that they don't have enough mana. Well, the same thing with that is, yes, I guess you get more mana and you can sustain yourself a little bit better, but that's why we have the bottle. So you really need to make sure you're getting the runes and you're refilling that bottle consistently over and over. If you go down to gank bottom, gank, whatever you have to do, if you have to go back to the fountain, heal up, go back mid to get some more levels, do that, but make sure you're grabbing those runes because then you can go grab it, go gank somewhere and then use that rune to replenish your mana and then stay in lane, get that experience and all that kind of good stuff. So power treads are the way to go. Just more versatility. I like them a lot. The next item is going to be Blink Dagger. Now, Blink Dagger is the most important item on Puck because Blink Dagger gives you that mobility to really make things happen and start those team fights. You can use it a number of ways. Probably the most common ways, you're going to be blinking forward. You can shackle somebody. You can silence somebody, whatever it may be. Throw your orb and get out. That's probably the most common too for team fights. You got 3 or 4 guys grouped up on the enemy team. You blink into the middle of them. You silence all of them. You shackle all of them. And you throw your orb. You phase shift. And then you jaunt to your orb. That's kind of the trend that you're going to be seeing. The nice thing with Blink Dagger as well is that the 3-second cooldown when you get attacked, when you have phase shift down here, max, it's going to be giving you 3.25 seconds of invulnerability time. So if you're getting attacked, you can phase shift. By the time that's about to end, you can blink away to safety. Really, really key on Puck. It kind of makes Puck the hero that she is, so you really need to get that. As far as when to get it, it's up to you. In a perfect world, it'd be awesome to just go straight from bottle to Blink Dagger, or bottle boots, Blink Dagger. But a lot of times that build-up might not happen because if you're dying a lot or you're not getting the right team fights or the ganks. And so that's why I have the bracer thrown in here and then the power treads. I feel like that is a more even build-up because maybe you're dying a lot in team fights. Well, if you grab a bracer and you grab the power treads and leave them on strength, now all of a sudden you're not going to be dying in those team fights as easily. So maybe you survive a couple and then you can get that Blink Dagger. It's just more of an even slope. If you get yourself a lot of kills and you can get it early, great, do that. Now situational items, these are just some of them. You can build a lot more. Puck's situational items can be kind of all over the place, which is nice, but I kind of put my personal favorites in the ones you're going to be using the most in here. So the first one's going to be Drums of Endurance. I put those on here because I'm a really big fan of Drums of Endurance. They're one of my favorite items in Dota because they're very cheap. They give that movement speed, they give you a little bit of damage, attributes, but more importantly, it helps your team. Dota is a team game. You want to assist your teammates and make your team better. So Drums of Endurance do that. If no one else in your team has built the Drums of Endurance, you should build them. I think I even put that in the description. If no one else does it, you do it. So this is an item that kind of like Mechanism, kind of like Pipe, where you just need it to team fight and it helps everybody on your team. If you build that bracer early on, it just builds right into these and it gives you stats that you need and gives you more team potential, all this kind of stuff. So you're going to grab these probably after your Blink Dagger if no one else on your team has got them. Next item is going to be Scythe of Vice. Once again, this item is probably one of the better items in all of Dota. It is great. You can never really have enough of them because you can sheep the enemy carry or initiator or whatever it may be. It's just really versatile. But the problem with this is it's very expensive. You see that 5,600 gold price tag is going to cost you a lot of investment, a lot of time, and a lot of buildup. Drums of Endurance, 1875. You can get these a lot quicker. So if you feel that you can get the farm, definitely go for the Scythe of Vice because that is probably your best bet after getting the Blink Dagger. But if you feel like you're not going to get the farm, then you're probably going to go with something like Yule's or something like Drums of Endurance. Next one up is going to be Sheaves Guard. Sheaves Guard is a really good team fight item. If you find yourself jumping in the middle of the enemy team, doing your skills, popping Shivas, whatever it may be. Shiva's Guard is going to be more of an AoE team fight. Gives you a little more survivability, gives you more mana, gives you some armor. All that stuff is really good. But the key here is the aura slow and the like when you pop it and does a little bit of damage. So this is for when you have a team fight oriented team. So you have someone like Warlock, Darkseer, whatever it may be, Enigma. Some teammates where you're going to be blinking in the middle of the enemy team. You're going to silence everybody. You're going to shackle everybody. You're going to pop Shivas. And then the rest of your teammates are dropping their abilities. So this item just adds to that kind of wombo combo approach to where you're just going to blow them up really, really fast. Next one up is going to be Dagon. Speaking of blowing people up really fast, it's going to be Dagon. Could have done a smoother transition there. But Dagon is a good item against really low health heroes and heroes that you just need to get rid of really quick. I personally don't like building Dagon, but it does have its use. So if, say, you have like a sniper on the enemy team that's really pesky and really annoying because he just sits in the back and you can't kill him, well, if you grab a Dagon, you can blink forward, you can silence him, you can Dagon him, you can ult him, whatever it may be, you can just blow all your abilities on him and you're going to kill him. Now, the problem with Dagon is it's once you use it and you use all your abilities, you're kind of useless. So you really need to make sure that it is going to kill somebody. And so I feel like Sniper's a good one for this. Maybe someone like Phantom Assassin, maybe someone like Crystal Maiden. These heroes who have low health pools, but they can do a ton of damage if they're staying alive and casting all their abilities and doing all their stuff. So, realize when you need to get Dagon, do it then. If you don't need it, don't go it. Go something else. All these items that are listed here are all better than Dagon. I just put it in the list because sometimes it is situational. Next one up is going to be Orchid of Malevolence. Orchid is, once again, a really good item, really good, shuts down the enemy team, but it is situational because it depends on the enemy's team lineup and kind of the spells they have. If they have somebody like Invoker maybe or Lena, someone who's constantly casting spells and is really hurting your team, grab an Orchid and then silence them, and now your team can start winning team fights. That is kind of just the key of, just recognizing, hey, they have Storm Spirit, I should probably get an Orchid because then he can't run away and he can't cast his spells, all that kind of good stuff. Last one up, which is probably, I'd say I should reorganize these. Maybe that's something I'll need to do in the future. Eul's. I think Eul's is another really underrated item, probably one of the more important items in all of Dota. It is kind of a cheap Scythe of Ice in a way. It's half the price, but it kind of does the same thing. It removes somebody from the fight for 3 seconds when you throw them up in the air. I guess 2.5 seconds. But it's cheap. 2,700 is pretty easy to get. It doesn't take long. The build-up's really easy. The components all help your mana pool. So I think Eul's would probably be number 2 behind Drums of Endurance in the sense of, okay, I got my Blink Dagger, what do I go now? Eul's just really good. It gives you movement speed. You can save yourself. So if you're in the middle of a fight and you're getting attacked, your phase shift's on cooldown, just throw yourself up in the air. You're going to be okay. You can blink away when you land. If you catch out an enemy hero, say you blink forward, you orb, and you're just barely out of range, you can Eul's them up in the air and let your teammates catch up so you can kill them. It just lets you have that versatility and that movement and positioning that Puck really, really benefits from. So I highly recommend going Eul's on Puck. If I had to organize these in the sense of like importance, I'd say Drums is the easiest because it's cheap and you already have the Bracer. If somebody else built it, then I'd probably go Eul's, go Blink, and then go Eul's after. Then after Eul's, go Scythe of Ice. And then Dagon, Orchid, and Shivas are all going to be dependent on your own team and the enemy team and the situation at hand. Next thing up, item or ability build. This is going to be a little bit quicker. Level 1, Illusionary Orb. Level 2 is going to be Phase Shift. Now these things can be flip-flopped. It is kind of up to you and the matchup that you're in. If you feel that at level 1 you're getting harassed a lot, get the Phase Shift because it's free and you can dodge that damage. One thing to do is don't skill build any of your skills until you get to lane and see the matchup that you're in. So by doing this, you can go into lane and you can see, okay, I'm safe, I'm not getting ganked. This, the guy I'm laning against is not going to be attacking me. Maybe it's a Pudge or something like that. So then I'll be okay. I can grab the orb first because I want to max that quicker. So I can grab the orb, I can wait till level 2 to get the Phase Shift. Well, if you go to lane, you find out they have an Invoker who's going to Exhort and is constantly throwing damage at you, or Queen of Pain who went Shadow Strike first and is trying to Shadow Strike you, and you go, okay, I need to get the Phase Shift so I can dodge these abilities. I'll get the orb at level 2. Do that. Same thing if you're getting ganked, grab the Illusionary Orb because you can throw it out, you can jaunt to it, and you can escape the gank. Level 4, we're going to grab Waning Rift, which is the silence, the AoE silence from Puck. And then we're going to grab the ult, usual at 6, 11, and 16. Then stats last. Just the reason behind the skill build, I guess, is because the orb is pretty easy to land. The range is good. The mana cost doesn't scale with levels. The damage does though, and so this is kind of your main ganking ability. You're going to throw it out to get that damage. You're going to jump to it to get closer to the enemy, close that distance. Some people like to max Waning Rift first. That is totally viable and valid if the enemy team has a lot of casters that you really want to silence. I could understand doing that. I just like the orb because it does allow you to start the fight with it and also kind of end the fight with it because of the range. So you could throw it, say you're ganking, you can throw it out, get that damage off, and then jump to it. Or if you're in range to start attacking them and they start running away, you can throw the orb through them to get that kind of last bit of damage to finish them off. I think it just gives you more options in a way, and it's just a personal favorite. Now, I guess tips and tricks for Puck, things that are necessary to do that will make you more successful. The most important one is the order in the sense of you use your skills. So I already talked about you blink in, you silence, you shackle, you throw your orb out, and then you phase shift. The key out of this combo, and the most common thing you're going to be doing, is make sure you orb and then you phase shift after the orb. Because a lot of times I see people phase shift first, and then they throw the orb, and then they get stunned and they die before they could jump to the orb. So what you want to do is, if you're trying to escape or whatever it may be, you throw the orb first, then you phase shift, and then when the orb is further enough away to that distance that you want, you just hit D and you jaunt to it, or you show up at the orb. By doing this, you throw the orb out, they can't stun you, they can't attack you, anything like that, and then you can jump the orb to safety. It also gives you some more options on kind of juking and avoiding damage. So a pretty funny one is, you throw the orb left, you phase shift, and the enemies think you're going to the orb, so they all take off after the orb. Well, then you just let the phase shift run out, and you run to the right, and you're totally fine, and you escape. If they stand right on top of you, and they're think that you're going to try to not go to the orb, then you just jump to the orb and you escape the fight. So that is kind of the main tip and trick I guess you're going to be using with that. A lot of their stuff is just movement and positioning based. Use the shackle to do what you have to do. If you need to latch the whole enemy team, that's great because it forces them to pay attention to their positioning. It's nothing better than seeing a carry, like a melee carry, someone like Faceless Void. You shackle them and they don't think of it, and they just run away, and then they get stunned, and your team just kills them really fast. That's really, really good. It's also good to pick people off. If they're trying to escape, you can blink forward, shackle them, and then your team catches up and kills them. You can also use it to section people off. So say they do have someone like Faceless Void, and they're a little bit on the side, you can shackle them on the side. Hopefully your team can kind of stay away enough to start killing the other supports and things like that before the shackle ends. It forces teammates to kind of think about the distance of the shackle, because if they break it, that's going to give them a longer stun, a little bit more damage, and things like that. But that is that for Puck as far as items and abilities. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a little bit longer than I suspected, but in the future I'll be doing more hero guides. And like I said, I'll put a link to the guide in the show notes, and so you can just click that. You can click subscribe. Then when you go into Dota 2, you can kind of follow this thought process. And then if you have any feedback or thing that think that different items should be on the guide, feel free to throw it out to me. Like I said, I'm not going to claim that I'm the expert or even anywhere near that level. But I also feel at the same time I understand where people are coming from who are new to heroes, and I'm trying to cater it to those people who are interested in this. If you've been playing Dota for a decade, you probably don't need guides. If you're coming in fresh, the guides are really beneficial and they really help you. So like I said, I'm going to keep doing guides consistently on my profile. If you go on there, you can see all the heroes I've done, and I'll keep updating them. I've been lately working with some pro players on creating guides, in which I'll put here as well. And the goal is to get to a point where we have a pretty wide range of heroes, and so when you go to learn a new hero, you can look at all the guides and you can feel confident that the guides on here are going to be in English, they're going to make sense, they're going to be organized kind of the same way, and you're not going to have to just worry about trying to read Russian or French or whatever it may be, a lot of the guides that you see on there. So that is that. I will see you guys next time on Guides with Finch. Today was Puck. I hope you enjoy Puck. Treat her well, because she is a pretty lady, and she deserves to be treated like a pretty lady. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter at IndieFinch. It's INDIEFINCH. I'll see you guys next time on Guides with Finch.
I'm the man in Dota 2, we can take it to the scrimmage, and you know that I'll be winning, just give it 30 minutes, yanking in the lane, hey yo,